Hi everyone, I'm so excited that you could join me here today to make our project a whimsical painted light plate switch cover. And I think you're going to be amazed at how simple this is, and or if you're an intermediate or more advanced, there's all kinds of ways that you can take this project above and beyond what I'm going to show you today. My goal today is to keep it really simple for people, not only in just for a starting video, but simple in the supply list, because it really doesn't take a lot to do this project. And if it's things that you already have or have easy access to in your area, that's awesome. I happen to live in a very rural area, so we don't have a lot of options for shopping, and a lot of times we'll order online, but the products and supplies that you're going to use today are kind of fun and easy peasy, and you probably already have them. So let me just go over a quick little section with the items that you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need a light plate cover. I would suggest that you shop in your own house, because you probably already have an idea of what room that you'd want to start in. Or say if you were working on this project with your kids, and I will say ages 5 and up, this is suitable for, with of course supervision when they're a little bit younger. You might let them paint their own light plate switch cover. Don't forget, there's a variety of plate covers, you know, for an electrical outlet as well as a light switch cover. And if you're picking one from your home, I would suggest that you give it a good scrub, and maybe with a little degreaser type soap and a toothbrush, and get in all the little grooves and get the grease, fingerprints and whatever off the top. It'll help things stick to your light plate switch. You're going to need a pencil to sketch in your design and an eraser. We will be using Mod Podge for coating these when we're finished. The Mod Podge will give a protective layer. You could use whatever sheen you'd like, satin or a gloss luster. I like the gloss because I think it pops the colors just a little bit more. You're going to need some alcohol, about your regular rubbing alcohol. I save old dropper bottles that I have. This one was from a stevia bottle, and I keep my alcohol in there. Just a little glass dish. You could use a glass saucer. Glass or ceramic is better, and Q-tips. This is just a regular generic Q-tip. We'll be using these for blending and maybe mopping up an accident. Is something I recommend for everybody to keep in your craft, hobby, or painting supplies. Makeup applicators, you can find these in most drugstores. I love it because it has the pointed tip, and then it also has the round tip, and I think most stores carry these, and I definitely recommend having these as a regular part of your crafting or art supplies. These are just wonderful little tools. They come in handy in so many ways. And if you have access to a blending stump like this, I would definitely suggest that you get some of these for your studio as well. I think a lot of stores, including rural areas such as a Walmart and most all hobby stores, have these. And it's also, I'd get an assorted pack so you have different sizes of them, because they are also a wonderful tool to have in your supply kit. Now this is a little sanding paper. Your tip will get dirty with paint and product, or it will lose its tip. So what you do is just sand this down, and it'll take off the excess paint, because sometimes you can transfer that unwillingly to a future project if your stump tip is not clean. And this just helps give it a point. You could also use just a regular piece of sanding paper if you don't have one of these groovy little tools. And I would suggest having a little scrap piece of paper on hand. And the next product that we're going to use, it's going to add all the color. I think you're going to be amazed, because you probably already have these in your supplies, and or your kids do, or you have them in your office. And this is Sharpie pins. Isn't this incredible? We're going to use Sharpie pins to make our light plate switch covers, and as you know, these are available just about everywhere now, including in office supply stores. They come in multi-kits that have so many colors, and because they're alcohol based, that's why we're going to be using the alcohol as our eraser and our blender and clean up things if we make a mistake. Another product product that if you have them or have access to them, and this would be more for the intermediate or advanced design, these markers are great for adding the detail. And this is the product that I would recommend that you look into for just regular scrapbooking, making art. These are the Posca acrylic markers. These are the really fine tip. I think it's a 0.7 millimeter pen. These are the pens that I use to get some of the detail, like the little circles, the little black circles. The rooster is a great demonstration of what I would say is a little more intermediate or advanced light plate switch cover. And I used a combination of the Sharpie pens and the Posca pens. I happen to have Posca pens in all kinds of colors. I have them in all different sizes. It's an investment, and if you could only purchase 2 Posca pens at this time, I would definitely suggest getting a black and a white in the 0.7 millimeter. You'll use these for everything. The light plate switch cover that we're going to make today, we don't have to worry about Posca pens or anything except our Sharpie pens. I would also suggest getting a Sharpie permanent marker fine tip, ultra fine tip like this, because you will be using this for details and outlining. I also suggest that you keep a piece of paper ready because occasionally you're going to need to clear the nozzle and or wipe off pigment from the colored markers, and I'll be showing you how to do that. And if you keep a piece of paper nearby, it just makes it easier for you to clear the nozzle. Let's get started. First thing we're going to do is sketch our design onto our light plate switch cover. Sometimes I design things with the holes in mind, and other times I don't really give them much of a concern. Let's start sketching, but sketch lightly instead of hard. Remember, this is whimsical, and that's another nice name for folk art. This isn't fine art. Just have fun with this. It's not a pass or flunk project. This is just fun. And believe me, when you see this up on your wall, you're gonna go, whoa, cool. So I'm just going to draw a couple of big loose circles, like where I might want to put these flowers. Okay, and that's all we have to do to start. It's just our basic outline. We're going to go in with our yellow first and start doing the background behind the leaves, and a suggestion is to work on the side of your pen instead of the tip, because if you put the tip and color with your tip, you're going to get the scratchy line, and you'll see when you're using your Sharpies, it's not going to be picture perfect smooth. As you can see on this rooster, the ink is not 100% smooth. Don't even worry about that. Nobody is going to notice that. Trust me, they're going to just go, look at that cute chicken. I want 10 of them. Let's start coloring, because basically it's coloring. And also, if I start in a direction, keep your pen, instead of mixing it up this way and this way and this way and this way, unless you want that real choppy look, it's just a little smoother transition to keep your lines going the same way. Another thing to be mindful about is sometimes this is still a little wet, so if you put your thumb in it or you hold it on the ink and then you move your hand to another area, you can transfer the pigment. Sometimes that's okay, but sometimes it could be over something you just finished, so be mindful of that where you're placing your thumbs while this is drying. And I'm just speaking from experience. Another thing, I don't agonize over filling in every little spot. That also adds some whimsy to it. You'll find if you go back into color, especially after it started to dry, there's alcohol in the Sharpie pen, and I would move and keep moving and don't go back over and over and over. You're not going to add more pigment. It'll start lifting it, so it'll have the opposite effect that you want. Certain pigments work better than others. Yellow is one of them. They work really, really well. So that's why I suggest you practice and play on extra ones so you can get to know your colors, how they work, practice blending, and then you can get a better idea before you jump in to do the one that you want to hang. Okay, so now let's go in and get our leaves done. And that's this darker turquoise color. Okay, here's where it's going to get fun. If you can see in the background, I left the white, and I'm going to show you how to do the swirl. So our objective is not to color this all the way in. We want to let that white work behind, just like here, that will only add black because the white's already there. This is a different technique on the dot. I'll show you this. Remember, we're not coloring this all the way in, unless, of course, that's your choice. But this is what's going to give it the rosy petal look, is by leaving those gaps between. So I have 3 colors here. Just give them a little test on your, that's a little bit lighter pink. It's a little bit lighter that way. And this one, of course, is your dark one. So we'll start with the dark one. All we're going to do is just make quick little like spirals. Start in the middle. Come around. See how much space I'm leaving? It's so I can drop in just a tiny bit more color. And technically, I don't even need these additional colors because it could look fine just like this. Now, this one, I'm just gonna go like this and sort of do little half circles. And I don't even agonize over my wonky lines because that adds so much flavor. This is really kind of addicting. You can see you could even just like it is right now, once we get the black outlines on and the black dots in there, these flowers would be just fine as they are. But let's take it one step further. And I'm gonna go with a little bit of this lavender look. And I'm just going to barely go inside those circles. I do not want to cover all that up. I'm just going to add a little taste of it. You see, I'm just barely coming in. I'm staying in the same motion. And voila, less is best. Okay, so that's what we're looking like so far. And see, we haven't done the outlines of the dots yet. And once we add that, and that's what's gonna make this pop. So now we're going to come in with our black. See, already that starts making everything happen. This next step is really gonna make everything pop. But let's go ahead and make some dots on our leaves. Now you see that I started my dots in a row because what I'm going to do to help give it more uniform look is I'm going to go side to side and add like a little pegboard. So it's an easy way to keep track of your dots. Doing it this way, it's just a little bit more methodical way of making your dots. Once you start doing it this way, you'll like go, oh yeah. There, that's looking really good, starting to pop. Now I actually think I'm going to use the bigger Sharpie to go around the flowers. Now keep some over and under. It'll give it a little more dimension that way. Look more like a real bouquet. I'm actually going to do the whole leaves too. So that is looking pretty darn good. I think I need a little bit of color in there, so let's just try this. Let me show you what this looks like if I just put another little flower in there, because I think we need a little pink in there. So let's just play with this and see what happens when you improvise. That's not bad. Makes it a little bit different. Now this might be a good opportunity to show you the alcohol, because I'm actually going to lift some of that color off. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my alcohol, stick it in my dish, and just a tiny bit, because it's going to evaporate before you have any chance of working with it. So just load the tip of your Q-tip up. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to start just reversing and moving some of that color. Now you see how it took a little bit of that yellow out, and I'm going to dab it. Take the bigger end. That's going to blend a little bit better. Let's let that dry for a minute. And while we're here, I'm going to put some more alcohol in there. We're going to take our blending stump and get it wet with the alcohol. We're going to come in and we're going to start taking off. Same way. You see how easy that was? Let's see if I can get you the light here. So there. We've got the white. Now say that I wanted to take a little bit off of here. I could do the same thing. Just be mindful not to use the tip that you use the green in. Go in with the other tip. And let's just take this little flower right here and come in, and then we could reverse swirl that. And that's just going to give a little extra dimension there. I'm going to go ahead and take some of this off here too. So it's technically what I'm doing is I'm going back in reverse here and getting some of that yellow off. There we go. And that helped just fill in that little spot. So say that happens to you, get some of your alcohol, remove the area, add your color, and that should work just fine for you. So there we go. We've got a really cute little light plate switch cover, and let this rest for like at least a few hours. You'll see that this is still kind of tacked, and that's why sometimes your fingers will stick to it. So give it enough time to dry, and then give it a nice coat with the Mod Podge, and just keep your direction going in one way. And don't forget your screw. You can see in this one here, same thing, I just adjusted this. Let me get this down here. So your screws match and they'll blend in just a little bit better. You can see this one, I've got the black up there and the red down here. Those are just some of the things that I have learned about doing this. And most of all, like I said, have fun. Thank you all. Make sure you check out my vlog, my Postcard Life.